Do you remember when Campo got us in trouble for storing beer bottle props for Carpe Diem in a dorm room? That was back in Season 4, Episode 5, and they were still going to charge us a $1,000 fine if we didn't make a video about the campus alcohol policy. And so, because we couldn't afford to pay the fine, and wouldn't have wanted to even if we did have the money, we spent part of finals week making a video about our college's alcohol policies. On the morning of May 11th, we finally decided to record this Alcohol Sanctions video that we were forced to make. We shot it in Colin's dorm room and ended it with him doing a handle pull from a bottle of booze he had in the room. It was something.
I bet the apple juice.
Colin flash memorized as many of the policies as he could, and over the next few hours he managed to get almost all of it read while looking towards the camera, for the most part. At the same time, we were both quite upset that we were forced to make this video at all, so the entire thing sounds and feels satirical.
As I'm sure you're all aware, alcohol abuse is a serious problem.
Colin starts it by taking a Gandalf-style pipe out of his mouth.
Why, hello there. You caught me at a bit of an odd moment. My name is Colin McDowell, and I'd like to talk to you.
If I'm being honest, I'm a little surprised we didn't get expelled for making this video. But I cut out the parts where he drank during the video and tried to make it look like we put time into it, even if it was ironic time. However, to see if they actually watched the whole thing, I kept in a part around 5 minutes when Colin says,
"The college reserves the right to deny entry to any event by individuals deemed intoxicated."
At which point Colin stares right at the camera, pulls a half-empty beer from behind a stack of books that had been on screen the whole time, and proceeds to chug for a good few seconds before setting it down out of view in the camera and continuing as though nothing had happened. He ended the video with a rule that had not been written in the school's alcohol policy. The unwritten rule that we'd been punished for.
One of the most important rules, not written here, but still nonetheless punishable, is keeping empty vessels in your room. I know, they could be used for props for movies, and that's fair. However, if you don't let campus safety know about them, you will be punished just the same. Even if the bottles were empty, even if they'd been washed out, even if you hadn't had any of the alcohol in them, even if you had borrowed them from friends who were over 21 and who lived off campus, you can still be punished for it. Remember that rule especially, because I'm sure that none of you watching this drink. I hope that you all have a very nice day. I know I will.
I had the video fade out before that bottle came into frame to decrease the probability of expulsion just a little bit. But the tone of this video said, if you're gonna be shits to us, we're gonna be shits to you. The problem was that Colin and I had come from a school that we'd really liked. We'd been loyal to certain aspects of York School and had brought that same thought process to Whittier. But here, we found ourselves struggling to film on campus and punished for doing more work than necessary. Because keep in mind, Carpe Diem was an extracurricular film, and we were punished by being forced to do even more work to make this alcohol video, despite the fact that my advisor had verified our story, despite the fact that I had never had alcohol in my system in my entire life, and despite the fact that I'd attended AA meetings while growing up. We not only wouldn't have been punished for this at York School or other colleges, most universities wouldn't have even bothered to search our dorms.
Scotch.
And even beyond that, wealthier students could have paid the fine, hired more film crew for Carpe Diem, and done much less work than we did in multiple ways. But in our eyes, the 2013 Whittier admin made us work harder than the average student to punish us for working harder than the average student. And we'd never forget that.
The possession, purchase, or consumption of any alcoholic beverage by any person under the age of 21.
I'd wanted Whittier to one day be proud that I was a graduate of theirs and proud that scenes from Carpe Diem had been shot there. But by the end of our freshman year, that didn't seem like it would ever be the case.
And now it goes from scotch to tequila.
I waited 4 years to release that blooper reel because it shows how we actually felt about what we've been forced to do.
Here at Whittier College, we try to this shit. Can we start over on this? There was a less me. Are we rolling?
Yes.
So am I. Prohibiting shots. Whenever you're ready, oh professional cameraman. Hi, I'm Colin McDowell. I'm here to talk to you about Whittier College. Hi, I'm Colin. Fuck you, Eric.
As you can tell, between this video, not letting us shoot on campus when requested, and the situation with my bad roommate, I was starting to get the feeling that the odds were stacked against us when it came to the administration. And I would find many reasons why I believed that to be true, at least back then. Colin and I didn't know when we'd be seeing each other next, though, since I was headed to San Luis Obispo and he was headed to Salinas when we left school for the summer. So, since we already had the camera set up and the time set aside, we had Colin record his Carpe Diem interview.
Hi, I'm Colin McDowell. I played Jack Card in Carpe Diem, and I was also key grip. Jack was a character I'd envisioned sort of based on myself. He was just this sort of happy-go-lucky, always try to get with women, have a good time, make stories, just good guy. Bit crass, bit rude, bit of an ass sometimes, but at the center, a good person.
I thought that having interviews with all the main cast and crew would be important later on, and I'm very glad I did it. But then we went back to Penn Park and got one single shot of Jack Card and Ross Freeman splitting up there to further justify how Ross ended up at the dance studio and how Jack ended up killing time in the park. Keep in mind, this was also right in the middle of finals. Because I'd wanted to design my own major, I had to take a series of classes called the Whittier Scholars Program. And my Whittier Scholars 101 final involved answering questions on a prompt given to us a week before it was due. For one prompt, I wrote about a clinical tale from Dr. Oliver Sacks because the patient reminded me of my grandma, my dad's mom, and the mental downward spiral she had had towards the end. I wrote, "In The Lost Mariner, one of the main characters is a man who has no ability to create new memories. His short-term memory functions perfectly well, but he's unable to convert these memories into long-term memories. This is a condition which happened to him without a choice being made. He had no say in the matter, and his affliction changed his life forever. Is there any concept of creation or identity there? All we know for certain is that his life was changed by the sickness, and his identity was impacted by his impairment. His choices can create stories in the short term, but it's as though he was only given a single page to write on at a time, rather than an entire book. That's chilling to read now, knowing that 7 months later, I would have an accident that did terrible things to my memory. But you'll have to tune in next week for the season finale to hear about how we made a film called The Smiling Stone."
I need a
What's the
drink.
history of Cinco de Mayo?
Shut the f*** up.
Spit take.